You want to learn programming skills, but you're too busy? Using one tool and 10 minutes, I'll show you how to find the time in your day and your week to learn what you want. You might be thinking, why listen to me? I've got a full-time job, 2-year-old child, and run this YouTube channel and the Database Star business. This is what works for me, and maybe it's something that will work for you too. There are 4 steps to this process. Step 1 is to open a calendar. It could be Google Calendar, Outlook, Apple Calendar, or even a spreadsheet, whatever works for you. I'll show you how to do it in Google Calendar. I've opened a blank calendar in a single week view. Step 2 is to add blocks of time into the calendar for the things you do every week. Let's say you have a 9 to 5 office job, which could be more like 9 to 6. Put a new event in the calendar each day for that. Add in any commute or travel time as well for any days you travel to the office. If you go to school or college or university instead, then add your school days or class times to the calendar instead, along with any travel time you need. Next, we add your sleep time. Put in some blocks of time each day for when you usually sleep. Let's say I sleep from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I'll put in blocks of time for that for all 7 days of the week. If you're using a calendar, you may want to put in 2 separate blocks, rather than a block each day, but it's up to you. If you've got a family or a partner you spend time with, put in some time for that. Maybe you prepare and eat breakfast together or dinner, or hang out at night for an hour or so before bed. Add that to the calendar. If there are any other activities you do during the week, add those to the calendar as well. I train karate, so I'll put my karate class on one night and maybe a run on another day. Your calendar should look something like this. A range of events on the calendar, maybe some big ones, a bunch of small ones with some gaps throughout the week. Let's move on to step 3. The next step is finding the time to study. Find a 30-minute block of time on your calendar that you can dedicate to studying. Why 30 minutes? That's usually long enough to make a difference. By finding the time during your week and putting it onto the calendar, it means that you have made time for it and that it should be consistent. It's more effective to have a consistent time to study, even if it's a small amount, than to have a large block of time but not very often. So look at your calendar, find a block of 30 minutes for learning, and add it to the calendar. There may be an obvious spot to put it, but what if there isn't? What if your calendar is full and there is no time for studying? Or your weeks are so inconsistent that it's hard? If this is the case, there are some tips that I can share. Consider studying in your commute time. You can read or watch videos on your phone if you get public transport to work. Obviously, this won't work if you're driving. Study on your lunch break. If you can, spend some time on your lunch break to read or watch some videos on something you want to learn about. You could do this every day or twice a week or even once per week. You could even go for a walk at lunch and listen to an audiobook or a podcast. You could study before work. This is what I do and have done in the past. I get up earlier than my family and spend some time learning or working. You could do this after work. Perhaps there's a time after you get home but before dinner that you can use for studying. Or maybe there's time after dinner for studying. This may only be once per week, but it's better than nothing. You could stay up later. Once per week, you could go to bed a little later and spend the time studying instead. Maybe there's time on the weekend as well if you don't work. You could find 30 or 60 minutes on the weekend to learn whatever you want to learn. So wherever you can find the time, put it on your calendar. That way, you know that every Thursday at 8 p.m, for example, you will spend that time learning something new. If you want an easier way to complete this process, I've created a checklist for you. Check out the link in the description below to get the checklist to help you find and save time for studying and learning during your week. Step 4 is to actually study. When the time comes around that you have specified in your calendar, then it's time to study. Spend the time to watch videos or read a book and practice what you learn. Perhaps it's a few chapters of a book. Perhaps it's a short YouTube video and 15 minutes of practice. Perhaps it's entirely used to practice your skills and try new things. In any case, it's a dedicated time for learning. Here's a bonus tip for you. Make a plan in advance of what you want to study. This means write down the specific topics you want to learn or the things you want to accomplish or research. You can write a few dot points down in a notes app or a piece of paper. It's very helpful to know what you want to work on before you start working. This means as soon as your study session begins, you can look down the list and know what to do. You want to avoid spending time at the start of your session to think about what you want to learn. You can write these down at the end of the previous session or during the week when you have a few minutes spare. There are many different skills that we want to learn. If SQL is something that you want to learn, check out my Introduction to PostgreSQL series here, starting with part 1. Thanks for watching.